I know it's 11 on 11s in June, but what were your impressions of your quarterback's play today, just because of the fact you moved on to a 11 on 11? What did you see from Teddy and Drew today?
Overall, it was good. I mean, I saw that we had a pick or two on defense. Not even sure who threw it yet. I'll watch the tape. But it was good to get 11 on 11. We just did about 20 plays of team, kept the same amount of numbers we've been doing as far as plays go, and we just did a little less Skelly. But it was good. It's the obviously really good for the lines to get involved. It's really good for the defense to have to figure out if it's a run or a pass. The most fundamental, important thing you have to do on defense. So it was great work. I was pleased with it. I'll take a look at the tape and see how it looked totally.
Do you watch, Coach, how guys handle it separate of the stats? Like if a quarterback's pressing or if he's trying to be something he's not, do you watch that part as well? Like how he's communicating and reading the defense, and is he trying to do too much? Do you look at that in your evaluation?
Absolutely. That's all part of it. You know, you don't want guys pressing. You don't want, two players you don't want as coaches. One doesn't do anything that the coach is telling him to do, and two only does what the coach is telling him to do. So there's a fine line there of, moving on and seeing more than maybe you're schooled to see. You got to find that happy medium all the time.
Let's go Ryan O'Halloran, followed by Kyle Newman. Go ahead, Ryan.
Vic, a couple of attendance questions. Tim Patrick and Noah Fant were working today. Are those injury related? And I have a follow-up.
Yeah, Tim got a very, very slight hamstring. He probably could have practiced. We just decided to not practice him. And Noah Fant had his wisdom teeth out on Friday or Saturday, and I was still feeling some discomfort from that. I know when I had my wisdom teeth out in the morning, I was out playing golf 2 days later. So I'm going to have to talk to Noah about that.
And secondly, Kyle Fuller.
2 hours later.
2 hours later. Kyle Fuller was out there today. Is the learning curve been as quick as you envisioned because of his experience with the Bears?
I'm sure it will be. I saw Kyle. We happened to walk in the building today at the same time. And I saw him in meeting and then saw him out in the field. So, I've seen him just a little bit more than you guys have. But he should have a very, very fast learning curve. There's obviously some things we're doing here that we didn't do there, and some things that he hadn't heard in a couple years. But overall, it should be about as easy as it can be for a new player.
Let's go Kyle Newman, followed by Arnie Stapleton. Go ahead, Kyle.
Vic, with Alexander Johnson, what kind of growth are you looking for out of him this summer?
Yeah, we're looking for him to be more of an assignment and technique conscious and fundamental player. He's at times can get stray a little bit from the exact way the coaches are being telling him what to do. He fits into that other category. You don't want the guys that only do what the coaches say, and you don't want the guys that, don't do what the coach is saying. He's leaning towards the too much of the other right now in his career, and we've got to get him more dialed in. And when he does, and we find that happy medium, he'll even be a lot better.
And then one more for me on the quarterbacks. I know you said you hadn't even seen him throw the picks yet, but with Drew, are you seeing any or too much second guessing, I guess, from him so far in his reads so far this year? Or what are your thoughts on that?
Not really. I think it's too early to come to any conclusions one way or the other, even a small conclusion. Mike and Pat will work with him on that stuff, and I'm not worried about it at this point.
Let's go Arnie Stapleton, followed by Jeff Legwall. Go ahead, Arnie.
Hey, Vic, today they announced that Greek is retiring after 45 years with the team. I know sometimes the athletic trainers or the guys in his position go a little bit unnoticed, maybe fly a little bit under the radar by most fans. I'm wondering if you could just kind of speak to what Greek has meant to this organization.
Well, obviously, 45 years of service to one organization is unheard of in the NFL. And that speaks volumes as to his competency and the value that he brought to this organization over such a long period of time. I never got to meet Pat Boland, when I got here, but Greek's always told me some stories about Pat. I feel like I got to know Pat a little bit through Greek. I have a hard time believing that Greek's retiring, though. I think he'll be back. So in my mind, like I told him the other day, I don't think he's retired yet. I read the quote where he said his wife deserves it. It's time for him to spend more time with his wife. His wife's going to ship him back here pretty quick. So once she gets 24/7 of him, and he'll be welcome back here at any time. And great guy, obviously a great trainer, but above that, a great ambassador and a great member of the organization.
Thank you.
Let's go Jeff Legwall, followed by Eric Dalala. Go ahead, Jeff.
Hey, Vic, I'm just curious if you've been given any guidance from the league yet as to how to handle vaccinated players and non-vaccinated players when you get to meet in person. Are you going to have to separate players? I mean, do you know yet how that's going to work?
No, we haven't gotten the finality of that yet at all, which is kind of par for the course ever since all this started. We find most things out last minute and do not know. We've had people guess what it will mean, but we do not know the answer to that yet, no.
Do you know about, do you intend to meet in person with the players in training camp, or will you try it next week? Do you have any timetable on that?
We've been meeting in person ever
Okay.
since OTA started.
All right, I was misunderstood then. Okay. How has that gone?
Good. It's still got a little problem to it in that, most of the team is meeting in the indoor, where you could spread out more. There's a couple position groups still in the building in the bigger rooms. My hope is that we'll all be back in our normal meeting rooms at the start of training camp.
And last thing for me, do you have a sort of a number yet on how percentage of players that have been vaccinated, or do you want to know that, or have you been given that?
For our team?
Yes.
Yeah, I think we're, if you count verbal commitments, we've had guys that said they're going to get it here in the next week or so. I think we're upwards, if you count the verbals, the ones that haven't done it yet, we're 69 to 70, somewhere in that range.
Okay. Thank you.
Let's go Eric Dalala, followed by Mike Kliss. Go ahead, Eric.
Hey, Coach, a couple of offensive line questions. Garrett Bowles and Bobby Massey not there today. Do you have updates on either of those guys?
Yeah, Bobby was here.
Okay.
He's nursing an injury, and Garrett's dealing with a personal issue, but expect him to be here for the minicamp.
Okay. What's Bobby's injury?
Just like a pec strain.
Okay. And then Quinn Bailey and Cam Fleming, what have you liked from those guys, or what have you seen from them at tackle?
Well, it's hard to say much about those guys, because they've just been in individual drills till today. So, and the tempo that we had with our line play today was really dialed down. So it's really hard to comment much on O-line right now.
As a reminder, if you no longer have a question, can you please lower your hand for me? Let's go Mike Kliss, followed by Brandon Cristal. Go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, Coach, I have two of them for you. One, was there something wrong with Drew Lock? It just looked like he was playing with his hand a little bit or something.
I think he had a little blister on one of his fingers, so that was part of the issue that you might be alluding to. I don't know how much it bothered him.
And then were you surprised that Juwan James, I guess there's two bits of news on him today. One that he filed a grievance against the team, and the other that he signed with the Ravens. What's your reaction to either one of those?
That's the business side of football, not football business. So, I don't go there at all.
Okay, let's go Brandon Kristoff, followed by George Story. Go ahead, Brandon.
Coach, back to the vaccination stuff a little bit. What have the conversations been with the team? And I guess how hopeful are you that all 90 players that'll be on your roster will be vaccinated by the time training camp rolls around?
I don't think we'll get all 90, but hopefully we'll get as many as we can for a couple reasons. One, me personally, and I know everybody has personal opinions, I think it is the right thing to do medically. Some people disagree with that. That's okay. And two, I think it will have a positive effect on the team, you know, both from an operations standpoint and just everybody kind of putting the team, doing the team, making the decision with the team in mind. But I do not expect we'll have 90. Hopefully we'll have a good amount though.
Got time for a couple more. Let's go George Stoya, followed by Zach Stevens. Go ahead, George.
Hey, Vic, got a couple for you on two guys in the secondary. First off, Issiah Bass, I know he has been kind of limited so far. How's his recovery been, and where do you see him maybe fitting in that secondary? Is he a guy that can maybe play several positions for you guys?
Yeah, his recovery has been going very well. He's been a really great patient in his rehab, doing everything the trainers are asking him to do. He's jumped right in and after it with Cortland and Big O, and those guys have worked tremendously. And he's once he gets back healthy and he can start practicing, he's definitely a factor in our secondary. He can play the nickel position. He can play the dime position. We got to play there last year, as you guys know, and did fine. And we expect him to have good growth in his second year. So he's a guy that once we do get him back, and I'm not sure when that will be, it may not be till the end of camp or later that he's totally cut loose. We're hoping to see him to pick up where he left off.
And secondly, Jamar Johnson, when you guys drafted him, you said he was a ball hawk. We've seen out here, he had the interception today. He had almost one last week, I think it was. How has he fit in so far?
He's fitting good. He's doing a good job learning. You know, we expect a lot out of the safeties from a mental standpoint, both before the ball is snapped and after the ball is snapped. And I think he's done good in picking up what we're doing. By no means is he where he needs to be, but I think he's having a nice logical progression in that regard. I don't remember saying he was a ball hawk, but that'd be good if he is. And we need him to make sure he's a ball carrier tackling ball hawk too. Okay, that's where the big difference is going to be. You know, he needs to tackle better than he did in college this past year.
We've got time for two more. Just please lower your hand if you no longer have a question. Go ahead, Zach.
Hey, Vic, thanks for talking with us. It appears that Teddy and Jeudy have a pretty good chemistry on the field so far. Have you noticed that? And what's that a credit to? And how long does it take for a quarterback to develop that chemistry with receivers?
It takes forever, but it's a process that gets better every day. I mean, you could think of the some of the all-time great quarterback receiver tandems, and they'll tell you that even in their 7th, 8th, 9th year together, they were still growing. So it's a daily happening that can keep improving. But you can see strides early, and I don't know that those strides have been made yet that you're alluding to, but hopefully that's where all of our quarterbacks can get with all of our receivers.
Okay, Ryan, finish us off.
Yeah, Vic, with one fewer preseason game, how important was it to get those joint practices scheduled with the Vikings, and how beneficial will it be for evaluating the back of the roster?
Oh, I think they're great. Even if we're doing the normal 4, I think practicing against another team has tremendous benefits to it. You know, at a certain point there, you start knowing your own players, your own schemes on either side of the ball. And it's just good to go cover somebody different as a defensive back. It's good to pass block somebody as an offensive lineman that's different. Good to pass rush against different offensive linemen. It's good to see different schemes, both in the running game and passing game, that your defense can see that maybe your own offense doesn't run, and vice versa. So it's tremendous work. We love doing it. We almost did a second one, but decided not to. And I just think they're great work, whether you have 3 games or 4.